Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about something a little bit different. So as you may have seen on Good Morning Magic, Gavin did a PFP update and overall there was no change. So what that means is basically there's no change to the format. They give some things that they were looking at name sticker goblin and things like that were obviously different to online than paper, which could obviously cause a massive difference. Other things that they did mention was they were looking at Unban and Prophetic Prism. They also mentioned other things like Hymn to Turak, I think it was, and something like that. So what that ultimately means is basically there's no change, and a lot of it was what do you think. So what I kind of wanted to do here is just make a little video, not to say, oh my god, the PFP are awful, or oh my god, well done, the PFP doing a good, whatever it is. It's not going to be two metrics. I'm just going to provide my thoughts on this. I have already covered this on the Casting Commons, so you should check that out definitely. And I will be writing a state of the format kind of article on Cards Realms, but this is a little different. Basically, what I wanted to check, or what I wanted to say was really that 4 months ago, we had an update of the PFP, and it was, what do you think? We currently see no issues. Let me know. And then it took 4 months again, with a lot of people probably assuming that Name Sticker Goblin at least was getting banned, more because some people thought it was broken, some people thought it was too different. It was one of the only changes that happened in between then and now that kind of justified that obviously in recent times. But I think ultimately one thing for me that I would like to address is I think the PFP could improve on, for me, is they put a lot of weight on these videos. They wait until they have something serious to say and then make the video. Which I think if they had a Twitter account or an article page, this would go a lot easier, even if they just had. Because to me, one thing that I really noticed is they operate outside of Wizards of the Coast. They don't have the normal regular ban lists. They don't have all that sort of stuff. They have their own ban times. They could ban anything. They could literally, if they wanted to, make a video tomorrow. This is banned. They could then make another video on Monday. Something else is unbanned. Like, they literally operate however they want, in effect, with obviously Gavin's say so effectively, who's part of the PFP. And I think, basically, this, to me, putting so much weight onto these videos is the biggest flaw at the moment. And I'm not saying that things are bad, because at the moment, Pauper doesn't feel the greatest, because it's definitely in a personal, unfun place with the power of all these uncommons that have come in and obviously whatever. But what basically, that is by the by, the format on paper is fairly balanced. On paper, it has 5 decks which are all top tier and rotating. It has a lot of decks under those, again, also fairly playable, like Ponza, Gardens, all that sort of stuff, putting up massive results on a regular basis. White Weenie, Heroic, Bogles, all that. So on paper, the font's fine. So I also have no issue with no change, and that is not my issue with this video at all. It's actually a video on how I would approach the PFP in terms of communication. Because to me, one thing that I've noticed over playing games over years, so I dabbled in Artifact, I've played Hearthstone quite a lot. I even played Soulforge back in the day. Soulforge, big up Kibler for that. But yeah, I've played a lot of different card games, and basically the one thing that I do know is key. As soon as you have a face, like an actual person that you can comment and go to, then they need to make that known and regular. Even if it's this is fine. No worries, no concerns. That is fine. The point is people like their opinion. They are in control of the format. And I think it's great if they utilize that a lot more. So, my advice, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert, but it's just from my experience from other games, and I know what I would like to see and all this sort of stuff. Like, I've played other games that aren't card games as well, and they have a lot of communication. And then I've seen games that are very, very similar, have very little communication, and then the communities are just totally different. So, my first piece of advice would be, if I was to give it some advice to the PFPs, please communicate more regularly. Even if there is nothing to say, like you have for the past 2 videos, do this every 6 weeks. Don't do it in a fancy video. It doesn't need to be in a fancy video. As much as they do look polished and like, look at, as Reese said on the casting comments, look at the difference between the article and the video that got released for the bans and restriction list for the rest of the format and Pauper. They were leagues apart. Like, and I'm talking leagues. And you don't need to put it in a video, though. You can say your thoughts are, we're thinking of unbanning Prophetic Prism. Sure. That's it. What do you guys think? Just an article? Or a post on Twitter from a PFP Twitter page? Like, that's all it needs to be. And what this does is, I know it sounds silly. To me, it just comes across as like, it puts a lot of faith into these people, which is fine, because I personally have a lot of faith in these people. I think, overall, I think all of these people are fantastic for the format, and they're fantastic to have run the format. They all know Pauper, they all know everything. We've obviously spoke to Weber on Casting Commons. He knows his stuff. We've spoke to Emma, spoke to the lot, like Hyson, all of them, Ullman, all great for the format. I cannot stress enough how much I have respect for these people. And having Gavin run it at the top is obviously great. The main point I'm trying to make is, I feel like they put a lot of weight on these discussions, that they are so, then because of that, they are so far apart that it gets really frustrating to have no change in 4 months, which, even if you just spread that between every 2 months, you had 2 updates saying no change, it would feel less frustrating. A lot of people have had this pent-up anxious anxiety on the format that they're playing and love and all this sort of stuff, to then have 4 months, no change. Like, what? What is happening? So that's one of the big things that I think I would personally change. And I actually think that would solve, I know it sounds silly, but that would solve a lot of issues. A lot of outcry, a lot of all that sort of stuff. Because the format is in a place that is very much like Marmite. You either love it or hate it, which is fine. That is no issue to me, not a problem whatsoever. It's healthy on paper. So it just has this like kind of fun factor which isn't really there, which again is fine. But that is one thing that I definitely would like to say to the PFP if they do watch and obviously listen. My next thing is another approach, because they work outside of Wizards. If someone could tell me from the PFP, that would obviously be great. Is there a reason why we don't have a suck it and see approach, as we discussed on the Casting Commons? Why can't we ban something, have it banned for a month, see if it makes the format better? Have something unbanned, see if it makes the format better. We can have these short durations where you can analyze these things. Is there a reason? Is it because too many sets are released frequently? Or is it because of X, Y? Like, what is the reason? Because I think ultimately that would be a great way to manage the format, is you can test these bans and then like kind of ban it permanently or unban it, or, you know, all this sort of thing. Like, look, everyone's crying that Monster Swift Spear is too bad for the... Okay, ban it. It's banned for a month. See how it impacts the format. Does the format change that much? Is it still miserable to play? Because not only do you get the answers for the community, you also get to take advantage of this outside of Wizards kind of BR thing. Which again would be great to see. It'd be great to see communications like this. Like, why don't you have this approach and all this sort of stuff. And that, to be honest, as much as this is a short video, I think is literally the only two not even issues, 2 pieces of advice that I think I would I would recommend to the PFP. One, communication. Communicate as a whole entity a lot more frequently. And it doesn't have to be in a video again. And secondly, obviously, is the suck it and see approach is what I'm calling it. Like, ban things, see what happens, unban it. You know, this sort of approach. Is there a reason that isn't being utilised? Because I do think it ultimately is not a good way to manage a format, but in this turmoil kind of time where people are unhappy with Terra, people are unhappy with Mono Red, people are unhappy with Ponza, everyone's always going to be unhappy, but it seems to have this built-up layer of unhappiness where now everyone's just unhappy about everything. I hate Glitters, I hate Swift Spear, I hate Terra. And I'm not saying that, obviously, the PFP to answer for, because everyone needs to manage their expectations. We as a community need to, like, have each other, like, have these in honest thoughts. Like, is this a problem? Is that a problem? Did you just lose? That sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, we need to, personally, as a community, not have such a negative feel to it. But more constructive feel to it. And I'm trying to do that with this video, to pass on that we need to be more constructive and not negative. There are very differences between the two. So, the PFP asked for, what do you think? Ultimately, I personally think Sticker should be banned. The Sticker Goblin, and basically Unfinity anyways. It doesn't add anything positive. The Prophetic Prism unban, I don't really care. It can be unbanned. I don't think it's any better than Energy Refractor or whatever, sure. But ultimately, my actual main, what do I think, is the two that I've obviously mentioned in the start of this video. So, yeah. That's kind of my advice. If you take it, if you appreciate it, whatever. I am, obviously, this is just my perspective as a popular content creator, and what my advice would be. Use know best. Use don't do... Obviously, we don't see everything, so this is just the outside looking in. And from me personally, and definitely from recent Cast and Commons as well, we appreciate everything you do, and you guys are smashing it. Definitely. Like, I definitely would have done a lot worse, for sure. And so will a lot of the average Pauper player. So yeah, you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. Just highly recommend more communication. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, and this is mainly for the PFP, but everyone can see. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And Gavin, if you are watching, hit me up with an application. You know where I am. I'll try my best. Peace.